beautiful soul. Welcome. This is Rochelle with the Healing Rose, and these are my standout, absolute favorite purchases from 2024. So let's start with this one, which I got just a little bit before midway through the year. It was released very close to midsummer. The Midnight Sun Oracle by Selena Moon, Magical Messages from the Nordic Summer. It's a rock pool deck. It comes in this really lovely metallic. I love that gold metallic linen finish box. We have these gorgeous purple edges. It has this really fabulous, soft 70s feel to it. It's like, honestly, I love this deck so much. It feels like little bits of nostalgia from my childhood in the 70s. So it's got that lovely dreamy effect that we have if you look at like the old like 8mm family video quality with that beautiful refraction of the sun and the shadowy effects. It's just a lovely, I can't say enough about this. I love this deck so much. Oh, it's just, there's something really magical about it. I don't know what it is. I love that in the book we get, of course, a beautiful full color book, which is fabulous and great, but it gives us these wonderful little snippets where we're kind of looking into those Nordic traditions, and we get this little bit of background in how those midsummer traditions are just a little bit different from the sort of mainstream of what we might know about in North America. So I absolutely love this. This is, I know, going to be a favorite for years and years and years. I immediately was in love with it when it showed up. So to me, this is one of my very favorite purchases from last year. All right. Okay, let's go over here. The Cowgirls and Aliens Oracle, which doesn't even live in the box right now. It travels around with me. It's from Ellie Grant. Again, another rock pool deck. Rock pool was really fabulous to me last year in that they had some wonderful offerings. So they're up there with being a favorite publisher for sure. So we get a beautiful full color book, and we have these beautiful, fabulous archetypes. Like, let's just pop the deck out. Of course, we have this fabulous foil finish. Like, oh, I love when Rockpool does this. I love these gorgeous edges. The backs are fabulous. I love the green, this bright lime green contrast with the pink. It's just freaking fabulous. So I think we get 44 cards in here. The first 22 are Cowgirls, and the second half is Aliens. So it's super fun. I absolutely love it. It's got this fabulous comic feel to it, but actually sitting down and doing a reading with this deck, it is a gorgeous deck for working with archetypes. It has really fun, uplifting, empowering affirmations that go with it. I got it. It's so funny. I actually got this, just thought it would be kind of like a fun sort of gimmicky deck for some Halloween events I was doing, and I was so surprised by what a solid little reader this deck is. Totally changed my mind about it. I thought it was like a total gimmick deck, and it turns out I absolutely love it. So yeah, just again, fabulous. I think this was the year where I fell in love with so many rock pool decks. Okay, let us look at a tarot deck. So the Moondust Tarot. This one I got because I was looking for something to partner with an oracle. That turns out I don't use the oracle that much, but I love this tarot. So we have the Moondust Tarot by Florence Saul. So it's the deck and guidebook. It's mass market, and it's done in this big chunky way that we get with a lot of indie decks. So the backs are gorgeous. We have this lovely foiling effect on the backs. We have the gold foil on the sides. So we got a lot of sparkle, and it's a lovely, soft, romantic, slightly pippish, because it's interesting. I think only the pentacles have this kind of pippish quality to them, which is really, really interesting that they've chosen to do that. Other than some of the pentacles being very much pip cards, the rest is sort of, I think, really very Rider-Waite based. But it has this really fabulous, like, cosmic, romantic, sort of Victorian medieval-esque quality. So it's that, you know, that time during the Victorian era when all these painters were really just embracing that medieval romanticism aesthetic. I feel it's really captured in this deck. So just kind of, yeah, fabulous. Every card seems to have this little border of either crystals or flowers of some kind. It's a really, yeah, it's really lush and beautiful and very lavender. Like, if you like purple and you like lavender, this stack is it's very fabulous, and it pairs really beautifully with several oracles. So I'm very excited about that. And it's funny because the oracle that I was like, I really like this oracle, I want a deck to go with it. By the time I found a deck to go with it, and this does work with that oracle in this case, I found that I had already moved on because I'd found oracles that just resonated a little bit stronger with me. So Moondust Tarot, absolute standout for me. All right, one of my favorites for my own personal daily readings that I do for myself is the Oracle of Delphi by Susie Cherub. This is a Blue Angel deck. The book is a great big book, and we actually get a lot with each card. We get the message, which is a couple of pages. We get a little blurb. You get a title. We get a theme for the card, and then for what am I going to call them? Keywords. So we have the Oracle's Prophecy, Chakra, it's connected to, Talisman, Faith and Action Step, Alignment Activation, and then some insights from the artist. So there's like a lot of information for each card. You can really go in depth. It's got some nice little spreads in there, but let's look at the cards. So we have this really classic Greek key. There we go. That's better English, right? And the cards are beautiful. So it's, again, a little bit of like photo collage, manipulated photography, very much. We have a lot of this sort of Greek column happening and some Greek runes. We have these other beautiful, like, there's a lot of archetypes in this deck, which I like. We have the mystic and the empath and the advocate, the sage, the magic maker, the poet, the guardian, the alchemist. And it's just a really lovely, gorgeous deck to work with. I think it gives really interesting insights, a very strong divine feminine feel to it, but there's still some, you know, cards that address the masculine as well. So this is, I mean, this is one that I'm using. I have used every week since I've got it. Often, you know, 3 to 4 days a week, I will use this deck. I like to blend it with other ones. Loving the Oracle of Delphi. All right, so The little Lenormand. Oh, I love the romantic Lenormand. Anna Oginski. This is Lo Scarabeo. I know a lot of people have spoken about the cardstock quality, and I'm going to tell you, I love the deck so much that I just don't care. We got the typical Lo Scarabeo book where we have some English and then we have some other language. I think in this case, I think it's just French and Italian maybe. The cards are absolutely gorgeous Art Nouveau style. The color palette is just absolutely a treat for the eyes. We don't get an extra man and woman in here. We don't get an extra child. We get an extra bird. So we have the birds or the owls. I've chosen the birds because I have a particular connection with bluebirds for myself. So I love the fish. There's so many. I love the stork. Like I love almost every single card in here. They're just, the moon is gorgeous. The cross is gorgeous. Look at that anchor. The dog is adorable and sweet. So we just have some beautiful, like they're very, they're just lovely and vibrantly colorful without being over the top. So I love that. And it actually makes me want to practice with Lenormand more than usual. So I love it so much that I actually love just drawing the cards and spending time looking at them and learning them, which is good for me because sometimes I get very distracted when I'm learning a new divination system. And I've kind of been playing around with Lenormand for years, let's say, but I've never, you know, kind of really mastered it because I always get distracted back to tarot or oracle. All right, so the Jane Austen Tarot. This is 53 cards for divination and gameplay from Jackie Oakley, Clarkson Potter Publishers. They are an imprint of Penguin Random House. So we have a very simple, straightforward book. We have a little sentence or two for each card. Now, it's really interesting to me is that we've basically taken our 52 playing cards and the Fool, so our 53 cards, and made them align with the tarot system. So the Joker is the Fool, 7 of Clubs is 7 of Wands, 7 of Spades is 7 of Swords, but it's also the Chariot, so you can kind of read the layers, right? So Spades are Swords, Hearts are Cups, Clubs are Wands, and Diamonds are Pentacles. And then some of them, like the 5 of Wands, which is about a little bit about strife, but it's also the Devil now. So I find it's interesting because sort of based on where it is and the vibe of what's going on, you can either focus in on the suit or focus in on the major. So it's an interesting way to do it. I love, you know, the different kind of layers. I love the sort of Edwardian aspect to the artwork. I think the borders are fun. I think the illustrations are lovely, and I really like this oversized cardstock. So it was a very, very subtle rounding of the corners, a very small round on the corners. They are very large overall, but they also have this lovely linen finish to them, which I adore. And I was searching for a perfect pairing to go with the new Oracle, and it just so happens that the Jane Austen Tarot pairs absolutely perfectly, in my mind, with another favorite from this year, the Green Witches Oracle deck. So we'll take a look at that. I love this deck. I love the box. Like, we have this like raised lettering, so texturally it feels wonderful to handle it. It's very smooth. Every aspect of the edges of this box has different artwork on it. It is just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I love the way they've done it. So this is from Erin Murphy Hiscock, illustrated by Sarah Richard. She's the author of The Green Witch and I think The House Witch. She has a few books out now. So the Green Witch's Oracle deck, not to be confused with the Green Witch Oracle. I liked this one because it's a little bit simpler. It's got a very smooth shuffle. We've got this lovely dark backs with this beautiful folk art. And the cards are very simple. We have this lovely frame and we have a lot of botanicals, but unlike most botanical decks, and I think this is why I buy all these botanical decks and then never use them. They don't it's not always just about the plants, right? So here we have like the fog, the cup of tea, the earthworm, the potion, the altar, rain, leaves, summer. So we have the seasons. We have the pine tree and the mushroom, but then we have the sickle and autumn and spring. And so we have, it's a whole system. It's not just plants. It's not just botanicals. And I think maybe that's why it resonates with me more. It feels more complete. It feels more whole. And I think we have something like 50 cards or 52 cards maybe. Yeah, there's I think it's just 50. They don't actually say on the box, and I don't think it says in the guidebook when I've gone through it. The new version of this, because I think this is the second printing, and the new version actually has a little list at the back that tells you what page you can find your oracle cards on. So it's really easy to just go to the back page instead of having to flip through and find your table of contents and then find your page. So I love that, but overall I just love how it reads. This paired with this is just gorgeous together. They have the same kind of creamy background and really simple, slightly, there's a slight bit of whimsy, a little bit more decorative, artistic drawings to it, this beautiful hand drawings, but the color palette matches so beautifully that it's just, I love them together. Absolutely love them. I couldn't think of which deck it was. It was driving me crazy trying to figure out which deck worked with this. And I went out and I bought a new deck, and then I was going through my collection and I found like 3 that I thought were yeah, they kind of work. And then one day I pulled out the Jane Austen Tarot and was like, oh my God, this is the deck I was thinking of. It goes so perfectly. It's just fantastic. It's amazing. So I love, love, love the Green Witch's Oracle. It is a favorite. That is why it's living in the pouch. And I love the Jane Austen Tarot. I like to keep it in the box though, because the book is oversized and it's very thin, the book. So I don't actually want to wreck it. And I don't mind. It sits on the side of my desk and it just flips open. So it's very easy. I don't have the top and bottom of the box to deal with. So I'm loving the Jane Austen Tarot. And it's perfect with the Green Witch's Oracle. So they're both just gorgeous together. Okay. Now, the Wealthy Woman Oracle deck. This deck fills a niche that I think we don't get in any other deck. So it's by Taylor Eaton. The artwork is Stephanie Wicker Campbell, who's also the publisher at Muse Oracle Press. It is a simple, elegant, understated box, and it is quite gorgeous. It's very subtle, very simple. We get a beautiful full color book. The first half is archetypes. The second half is activations. So out of the 44 cards, if they're archetypes, we have titles on the bottom like the storyteller or the healer. And if they're activations, we get the title on the top like Fortress of Protection or Rooted. So overall, it's beautiful. It's lovely and it's soft, but very interestingly, it really actually just focuses on you and your connection to your wealth and prosperity, your connection with abundance. How are you relating to wealth? What sort of blocks might you be carrying? What sort of stories are you telling yourself about your wealth or your ability to grow your wealth? So it's just absolutely gorgeous. It pairs beautifully with so many of my tarot decks. I find I'm doing a check-in with this deck at least once a week, if not more often. I especially love using it for my business. I also just like using it for myself personally. This has been my go-to since it showed up in my hands. I've absolutely loved it. I've been using it solidly since last summer. It is amazing. All right, so on that topic of business, we have the Business Astrology Oracle by Catherine Hawking. The artwork is by Prism and Fleur, so I already know I'm going to love it because I absolutely loved the Astral Realms Crystal Oracle, which was amazing. We have this beautiful fold-up box. So this is a Hay House deck. We have a really fabulous, solidly full of information book. So there are a lot of cards. How many is it? 60 something, like 62? Probably says on the front and I didn't even see it. No. Well, I think it's 62 or 64 cards. Yeah, 62 cards. There we go. So the backs are lovely. And it has very smooth shuffle for being a lot of cards. If it had had one of those like velvety finishes, they kind of stick together for a while. But it's very simple and it's very, I think, on point. And if you have a business, very interesting in that she explains how to create the birth chart or natal chart for your business, and how to work with that and work with the cards. And even if you don't have that birth chart done up and you just do a spread asking a question about your business, the readings I have had with this from day one are fabulous. The box is very sturdy. It's traveled around in my bag several times. It's kind of a chunkier deck, and so it doesn't really fit neatly in any of the bags that I have, but it's really gorgeous. It's very cohesive, even though we do have some different shifts in the tone of the cards. Overall, it's a very, very cohesive deck. The cards work beautifully. If you want to layer this with the tarot deck, I like to layer this with the Wealthy Woman Oracle. Those two together are absolutely beautiful in a reading. So I am loving working with this deck in conjunction with the Wealthy Woman Oracle and using the two together, because I can look at like what's the energy in the business and then what do the finances look like with those energies, and is that something that's necessarily, you know, going to be an amazing financial move. And I know a lot of people don't like talking about, you know, rely on your oracle cards for your financial decisions, but when it comes to like the energy of the money in an offering, like how is this offering energetically, like is it aligned for my business, and what is the abundance or monetary or wealth alignment with that offering? And so, I mean, really, we're looking at the energy. I'm not asking it, you know, should I buy this stock today? But I'm so in love with this. And this showed up right at the end of the year. I waited months. I think I'd signed up for a pre-order on this like 7 months before it was released. It's a ridiculously long time to wait, but man, do I love it. Okay, so let's see. We have the Universal Celtic Tarot. I got the mini. I loved it so much. A week later, I went and got the big version. So I absolutely love it. The mini has borders. I'm still considering trimming the borders off. It's gorgeous. It's fun and whimsical and magical, and there's a little bit of fairy in it, and there's a little bit of Avalon in it, and a little bit of like old Arthurian magic and Celtic fairy tales, and it's just beyond gorgeous. I haven't decided what color I want to edge it in, if I want to go with some of the green or, whoops, let's get this, pop that in there with it. Or if I want to do something a little bit more, this kind of like lovely blue watery color. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I put it in order for a flip through. So it's back in order again. Oh, I love the dragons. I love the fairies. I love there's some very clear Hobbit, Lord of the Rings references in here, along with our lovely little leprechaun and his Amanita muscara mushroom that he's carrying around with him. I love this. This fulfills a niche for me in my collection that I haven't found quite the right deck for so long, and then I finally found this one, so I'm so incredibly pleased with it. It replaces several others for me. So this was a little bit of an older deck, but it just came into my hands just a little bit, maybe last September, a little ways away before Halloween. And so I love the backs. I don't mind the borders on this, which surprises me because normally I'm like, ugh, borders, let me trim that. So it's very sweet. It's very kind. If you don't know tarot, you can use this like an oracle simply by using the little key phrase at the bottom of each card. So it functions in a tarot capacity and an oracle capacity, which is kind of brilliant and wonderful. The messages for me don't always exactly line up with my perception of a particular tarot card because I've been reading tarot now for almost 40 years. And so I definitely feel like certain cards are a certain way. And so, this kind of maybe challenges some of my perceptions, which I don't mind. I think some of them are, it's like, oh, well, that's a very soft take on that card. But it's very kind and it's very sweet and it gives beautiful messages. And look at that Ace of Cups potion card. So I love all these lovely versions of the feminine that we see in this deck. It's a very soft, very welcoming, very, it's just very easy to kind of embrace this deck. And again, I got it because I thought it would be a cute little Halloween reader, and it's turned into one that is in, if not a daily practice, it's in a weekly practice because I have so many decks that there's very few that I use every day on a regular basis. I tend to rotate through, but I absolutely love the Cozy Witch Tarot deck. So I was so glad that I picked it up. Okay, let me see. Okay, we've done those and those. Let's do this one. This is a little bit more recent this year. Or I guess technically last year. Came to me later in the year. It was, I saw it go on sale and I thought, oh, well, I like Jenna's artwork. Let's pick this up. I saw one of the cards. One of the cards just absolutely made me fall in love with the deck. So this is another rock pool deck. So before we look, the backs, to me, this is just, feels like such a holiday, Christmassy kind of deck. Very gorgeous. We have this beautiful soft gold foil. And the cards it was this card. This is the one. I saw this card and it made me want to buy the deck. The colors are just so perfect. But I tell you, what beautiful messages. What a lovely reader. What a lovely practice. If, you want to kind of connect deeper into the energy of your heart and deeper into your emotional intuition. This is a gorgeous deck for that. I find it's absolutely lovely. Every card has a heart somewhere in it. You just have to find it. It's just gorgeous and sweet. And I have been absolutely so in love with this. And this reads so beautifully with the Moondust Tarot. The two of these together are sublime, absolutely sublime. So I am so So in love with this, and I know it's like a little bit of an older deck. It's not exactly, I don't think it's a 2024. I think maybe it's like about a year old. I think it might have been a 2023 deck. Let me see. Published in 2023. Yeah, so it's not super old. It just took a little while to sort of find my practice because I didn't think it was, I was kind of like, oh, it doesn't quite feel like what I'm working with right now or how I'm working. So maybe this is not going to be the deck for me. All right. Intuitive Whispers Oracle by Maud Hurst. I really love this. This is a very nice oracle to work with. It's got all these gorgeous little portals in it. I'm a sucker for a deck with portals, I tell you. I love the color palette, and I love this sort of transition as we go through the sort of the energy centers in the body. And so it's like if it's lower energy centers or more heart centered or the sort of the upper energy centers. But I love these sort of gateways and portals that we can travel through in the deck. I think it's quite beautiful. I think it's quite the gorgeous deck. And it gives, I think it adds interesting layers to readings. So I don't often read this by itself, but I use it for clarifying or the sort of more contemplative, meditative practice that I might add in at the end of a reading where I kind of want to think or ponder on something more. This is kind of like the deck that I'll go to. All right, let's go with, here we go. The Dreamgate Oracle by Danielle Knoll. She has created something quite lovely here. So again, it's a little bit more understated. I think that was a theme for a lot of the more, maybe slightly more, I almost want to say like luxurious feeling decks. So this deck is absolutely kind of a beautiful, lovely, dreamy energy, a little bit more of that subconscious, intuitive energy. Still very cosmic, as we find with lots of Danielle's work. If you're familiar with her indie tarots or the work that she did a few decks with Rebecca Campbell, her earlier decks. I really, I really like this deck, I have to say. This is really just beautiful. It has some very lush scenery in it. It's much more, I find, for that inner intuitive sort of maybe spiritual path work, as opposed to, you know, I don't necessarily use it for something like a business or career reading or something like that. I definitely use it more for like where my energy is this week, or I've had, you know, some interesting dreams that have been happening lately. And so let's kind of look into the energy behind that and see where that leads us. It is gorgeous. And the book is beautiful. So it comes in a box set. So we have this larger book that is, again, beautiful and full color. Danielle always gives us a beautiful book to work with. So I love that. It's just gorgeous. It's a very sweet deck. And because it comes in a box set, I have the cards out so that I can take them with me if I want to. And they just kind of sit with the book on the side of my desk. And that's where they're living at the moment. All right, so, okay. I think we're almost through. Okay. Oracle of the Angels by Mario Duguay. Healing Images, a Message from the Angelic Realm. This is an older deck, Blue Angel. So it's been out for a few years now. And these are the backs. They're quite gorgeous. It's a very lovely, sturdy, solid cardstock. It's fabulous cardstock. I actually don't mind the borders because they're not a solid color, because they have this kind of color shift to them. They don't really upset me in any particular way. It's not a sea of staring faces. We see these sort of angelically, sort of spiritually celestial quality images and drawings and paintings that are just soft and beautiful. The messages in the book are gorgeous. So this is what I'm still working with. I've done a couple of readings for people that I know, just to sort of gauge their reaction to the deck and the messages, and it's gotten very positive reviews. So it's a small and sweet, angelic little deck. I really like this one. I think this may be one of my favorite angel themed decks that I received this year. I did get a few, and this is definitely at the top there because it's just not all cherubs, or it's not like super modern. We have these lovely nature scenes that go along with things. It's not just a sea of staring faces. It kind of stands out, I think, from a lot of the angel oracles that are out there. Okay, so we have the Heavenly Bloom Tarot by Noah Ikeda. This was a gift from my husband. It is gorgeous. It is so gorgeous. I can't even tell you. It is glossy. The sides have this beautiful, soft rose gold finish to them. The illustrations are absolutely fabulous. They do have borders. The border is a very soft pink. It's not a white. It is a very, very soft, rosy pink. Just absolutely gorgeous. I love this artwork. I'm excited to find out if there is an oracle deck or something else that comes out by this creator. Oh, it's gorgeous. We have these really, like the King of Swords is the most intense, fiercely intense feminine energy. The King of Wands again. So we have this crazy, fierce quality to a deck that on the surface, when you look at it, seems like it's going to be very soft. So I kind of love the vibrancy, the intensity, how almost every single card in here has some sort of movement or flow within it. They're not static and still. Like, oh, this Queen of Swords is gorgeous. I love the deck. And I love the commitment to the fact that instead of pentacles or coins, we have laurels. And we've really stuck with this laurel theme of like the 4 trees in a circle, creating this little motif that carries through. And it's not just, we called it something else because that drives me nuts. We call it coins, but then we show pentacles, or we call it this and then we still show pentacles. Why not just call it pentacles? Why rename it? And I love that we've actually created an individual unique motif for this suit, for this earthy suit, and we've sort of stuck to it and really embraced it. So to me, that's some attention to detail that we don't get from a lot of creators. So I really love this little deck. It's very, very sweet. The box is gorgeous. It's just a beautiful deck to work with. And this is from US Games. It is. It's just lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Okay, am I missing something? I feel like I am. Okay. This is one of my last purchases of 2024. This is a secondhand deck, so I will link the mass market edition of it. This actually is the original out of print edition that I found at a secondhand shop for an insane price for a deck that now retails for somewhere around, you know, 300 to 600 euros to get it for the price that I did. I was like, what a gift from the universe for my holiday. Happy New Year to me. I feel filled with abundance and prosperity. So the Margaret Peterson Tarot is so interesting and unique. And of course, because this is the original, it's all in German, which I don't speak, unfortunately, but I did find a handy translator app on my phone. So I'm able to translate the book, and the writings are so poetic. I really, really love how interestingly intuitive the readings are with this deck. This was on my wish list a long time ago, and then I found out it was out of print and just there was none to be found, and the mass market version of it had white borders, and I was just not interested. So I just thought, oh, this would not be a deck that I would ever find. And to have it just sort of randomly appear in a little small town used bookstore was like just amazing. Just like, wow, just absolutely amazing. It is, I love it. So I'm absolutely thrilled. This was a fun thing to find. Interesting challenge for me to learn enough German to actually read well with it. So that's a fun little side project I've been working on. But yeah, this is a very cool find, the Margaret Peterson tarot. So this is, of course, because it's the old one, doesn't have any extra information on it, but there is a new AGM version that does have these beautiful wine colored borders on it, and I will link that in the description box. All right, so what is next? Okay. My two favorite little minis next to the Universal Celtic Tarot that I already showed you. The Once Upon a Time by Jenna Della Grataglia and Wishcraft by Stacey DeMarco. So I'm loving both of these little guys. They are freaking adorable. I love the wonderful whimsical fairy tale quality of this deck. And the back are like, once upon a time there was, and it will give you your keyword and then a little blurb about it. Once upon a time there was imagination. It was your only limit. Once upon a time there was a dragonfly. Good luck and your wishes are granted now. Right? So we have these beautiful little affirmations. I love the metallics on this box. It's just sweet and gorgeous. I think these are some of her best illustrations. If she did a full-size oracle with this sort of palette, I would be all over that in a heartbeat. As it is, I've already this year purchased one of her newer oracles. The Resurrection Oracle, Welcome to Your Life or something, which is gorgeous. But I love that color palette. So we have Wishcraft, which I love because it's beautiful affirmations, right? So magical rocks. I'm grounded and creative. Follow the moon. I love flowing through the magical cycles. I focus my energy. My wishes grow big like a tree. So they're wonderful, beautiful, little gorgeous affirmations. I absolutely love these. And then the backs are all kinds of different, oops, they're still sticking a little bit. So this one was fairly new and not very well used yet because I've had it for a very short time. So it's still, oh, so sweet. So we have these beautiful little images that are absolutely gorgeous. Like it's absolutely a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous little something. It's a beautiful little something. So yeah, I'm very pleased. I do love a mini deck. So I have a lot of them now, but they fit perfectly into the back of my little reading desk. This is like an old antique like Victorian style letter desk where it's just got the little nooks at the back for just writing your correspondence out. So these fit very perfectly in the little nooks. So I absolutely love my mini decks. Okay, 2 more honorable mentions let's add in. So these ones. So this I didn't intentionally purchase, but it came with the Ancient Stones Oracle, was with the Hay House Card Club deck. Or Card Deck Club. They've got such a title on it, I never remember. It's too many words. And I wasn't going to get another Rebecca Campbell deck because I had the first 3. And the third one, the Rose Oracle, did not leave me super impressed. So then this came and I was like, well, you know, I was kind of a sucker for the theme. Like I skipped over the Healing Waters, but then I was like, ooh, wait a minute. Pave Your Own Way, the Guardian Stone, the Records. We have Alignment. We have like the Stone Goddess. We've got these Stonehenge references. We've got like the Secret Chambers at Newgrange, and we've got like all of these really fabulous ancient stone feeling things. And I was like, you know what? I think we've got like the Sword in the Stone in here somewhere in here. Boundary stones, and I loved the idea, and the artwork seemed like it'd be all right. And so when it showed up, I was really impressed by how I can actually see things now on the cards. They're not just like such soft translucent layers that you can't really make anything out, and they're just kind of like color blobs, but yet still so pale. Like these ones actually have a nice crispness to them, which I so appreciate, and I enjoyed this. Actually, I was so much happier with this. This actually made me change my mind about Katie Louise's artwork. So then I actually did go and get myself the Healing Waters Oracle, which I'm sure many of you have already seen or may already have. Like some people tried to convince me to get it, and I was like, nah, it's not going to happen. Well, I may owe them an apology because the Isle of Avalon, I can't tell you how many times this card has popped out for me. Anytime I'm ready to make a big decision about something, but I'm kind of like, I should do it, but I'm sort of waffling, this card will come out over and over again, like daily, like repetitively. Doesn't matter how much I shuffle. But I actually went and got this one then, and I have to say, like, honestly, I feel like everything that I disliked about the Rose Oracle was corrected with these 2. So, and it's a different energy, right? I really love the Ocean Dreams Oracle. This is more like a freshwater kind of oracle to me. One is ocean, the other one is freshwater. So I kind of am loving. Oh, here comes the dog. Do we got another one? Clicky, clicky toenails. There we go. So with this one, and I love the Lady of the Lake, like the first week I got it, I kept, no matter how much I was shuffling, pulled out like every single Avalon card and almost every reading that I did. And I was trying to make a decision about doing something, and it's like the cards kept coming out again and again the same. And I was like, very interesting. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. But honestly, they're both beautiful. And so while they were not planned purchases, they're definitely taking a solid place in my reading practice, let's say. So I actually was surprised. I didn't expect to like either of them. And so the fact that they actually now kind of have a solid place within my reading practice is kind of impressive to me. So although I have taken 2 cards out of this deck because they were just off-putting to me, and so I took the 2 cards out, and they hang out in the box, and there's something about them, like they just, yeah, it's 2 cards. So these 2 cards, I don't like either of these. Maybe it's just, I don't know, something about the shape of this, or like, I don't know what it is, but I don't like them, so I've taken them out. I'll figure it out later, or not at all, because it doesn't really matter to me, because Oracle functions perfectly well without them in there. So you know, it is what it is. You can do that. When it's your oracle and you're working with it at home and you don't like, you get this one card and you just like, every time you see it, you're like, ugh, I don't like that. Just take it out. It's totally fine. All right. I think that was it. So that was my 2024. I think there's only like maybe one other deck that I could pull out, and that would be the Hush Tarot, which has found a very interesting and surprising niche in my practice. I did not expect to really enjoy personally working with it. Again, this is one of those decks. I got like several decks just for Halloween, and ended up really, really liking them. I like the color palette, but I didn't necessarily feel like the energy of, when I looked at it online, I felt like the energy of the sort of macabre factor of it was not quite in alignment with where I was. You know, like a lot of like skulls and decay and death in the cards just weren't really resonating for me when I looked at it. But then I thought, well, it might probably be a cute Halloween deck, even though I'm not super vibing with some of the images, right? Turns out this deck really has a specific niche, which is kind of fascinating for me, and that the people that actually generally ask for this deck when they're reading, if it's just like I have 5 decks on the table, the people that pick this one almost always have some sort of like a mediumship type of question or questions, or, you know, they're dealing with the loss of someone that they've loved, someone who's passed over, and this is the deck that they want to get their readings with. I found that to be quite fascinating, having not seen any of the images, right? And they're just kind of like, oh, which deck? This was the one that people were drawn to over and over again. So I find that really fascinating in and of itself. And so it actually gave exceptionally clear messages in those cases. So, you know, it's got a solid spot in my library now, is all I can say. And it pairs beautifully with several oracle decks, simply because this color palette seems to be something that I'm drawn to. The softer color palettes. There was a time in my life when everything had to be brighter and bolder and bigger. And those were the decks I strongly resonated with at that time. And at this point in time, it's much more like, I like things that are more harmonious on my eyes, maybe is the word I'm looking for. Yeah, so those are my absolute favorite standout purchases. So there are more decks that I purchased in 2024 for sure, but these are the ones that now have a very special place in my personal practice. These two would be like, if I had to recommend only 2 decks and you're in business, these would be the 2 decks. Like, I swear to God, they are fabulous. Absolutely love my Green Witch, love my Jane Austen Tarot, love my romantic Lenormand. Like, there's a theme, right? Love my Cowgirls and Aliens, love, 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 love the Midnight Sun. Like, each one of these really fulfills a different sort of role or energy within my practice, right? Love the Oracle of Delphi. You know, it's interesting. I love and adore lately the Healing Heart Oracle in conjunction with the Moon Dust Tarot are like spot on for readings for my personal energy and where I'm at emotionally. You know, sort of not so much spiritually, but definitely much more like on an emotional keel. Where am I? If I just want to check in with the energy of the week and how's my week going and where do I need, you know, some guidance with something, definitely I'm pulling out the Green Witch Oracle, or along with it, if I'm pairing them up, the Jane Austen Tarot. And, you know, any kind of business or financial questions, it's these 2. Absolutely, every time. These are my go-tos. They just sit like right here, and they're top of the pile every single day. These ones are coming out in some kind of way. So, you know, it's been interesting how I'm kind of curating my collection this year and which things are resonating more and which things are getting more time in practice versus what I used to read with before. So it's definitely given me some things to kind of think about and contemplate, and I love finding new ways to combine some of these decks together. And yeah, so it's been an interesting year. And although, I mean, definitely this one is an old out of print, you can still get the mass market. It is so interestingly and deeply intuitive to work with. And I kind of like how it's going with the intuitive whispers. The two of them are kind of connecting in an interesting way. So yeah, it's just been a fun year of kind of exploring and expanding how I'm working with my tarot and how I'm working with Oracle. So I hope you enjoyed this little peek into what is happening within my practice and what I decided to add to the practice, even while I am still in the midst of, whoops, shaky camera, in the midst of really clearing out a lot of decks and really kind of refining my taste. So, all right. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end, you're amazing. I hope you have a fabulous day and a wonderful week. And thank you so much for watching. I deeply appreciate you. Take care.